You've been staying kind of busy from what I'm seeing.
Mhm. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've been changing more from concentrating acting to concentrating directing and producing. So it's been a ride for sure.
So what have you been doing? I saw it was some music videos and what else?
So right now we're prepping. I'm prepping for my first feature, which is kind of crazy. I don't know when it's gonna happen. Maybe it's in a year or two, but I'm prepping for that. And then we just did a music video for a artist from Capitol Records, and that was actually really awesome because we went from doing a regular music video and did it more into a short film. So it has story, and it's not just something to listen to music, but actually to see a story.
What role does the music play when you're actually trying to tell a story rather than just doing a straight up music video?
For me, what I did with this one specifically, I listened to the lyrics and I it, I don't know why. It brought me to it just gave me an idea because of the lyrics, and then I just went off of that. So this specific video, he talks a lot about like this perfect woman and like this fascination with this perfect female, and we went off of that, and that's where the story got created.
How
But
did you?
I guess it's more about what was at the mind at the time.
How do you storyboard and script something like that for a music video?
I actually storyboarded like from the beginning. I just had an idea, and I visualized it, and I grew from that, and I storyboarded verse by verse how I saw it. And it's crazy because the thing with music videos is that you really don't know until the editing, and I think with everything, you really don't know until the end how it's gonna actually look, specifically because we're cutting in deep. So being hip hop, it cuts more than a regular music video, I would say, or a movie. So we shot 6 different setups in 12 hours in 2 different locations, and it was a lot, but it wasn't that much until when you watch it on you always think you have a lot more content than you actually do, and it really came to the editing and that. But I gotta say that if it wasn't for me having a storyboard at the beginning, I don't think I would be able to have done it. So I definitely storyboarded from the beginning, verse by verse, every single thing that I had on my mind, specifically with notes.
Did the artist have any creative input for the video?
In this one, he pretty much let me roll with it, which is shocking. Because I have a very artistic, and this is me going back to painting and like surrealism, and I remember pitching it to him, and it sounded like a really crazy idea, and he liked it, so he just went with it, and that's really an awesome thing because I've never worked with an artist before, I've never done a music video before. Having that as the first experience is pretty awesome.
How did you get involved with Capitol Records for this?
Well, he's signed with Capitol Records.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he called the same day that we were shooting some crazy. Like he showed up an hour late, and it was because he was signing his contract. So I got really lucky there. I could have been anything else. I don't even know. I just got really lucky in that. But yeah, I love music, and I always felt very involved with music. And I think that especially now with Beyonce that did her like whole record and music videos like a movie or a movie length, and La La Land and all of these like musicals coming up. I think I love it. I think it was a great opportunity.
Do you think you'll
It's an amazing learning experience too.
Do you think you'll direct more
Sorry?
music videos?
Maybe. I don't know. Just I feel like this was a very specific like blessing because I was able to do whatever I wanted, and it was And it was very different, and you'll watch it when it comes out. But it was very different from a regular music video when the artist is just singing. Again, it has a really big story. So if I have more opportunities to create stories like short film musicals with music videos, of course I would love to. And I have a lot of friends that are in the industry that are involved with music, and I think that that's also a great opportunity for me to be even more involved with it.
Would stage musicals be something you'd be interested in directing?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not very interested in stage.
Mm-hmm.
Not right now. Maybe later in the future. Right now, I'm more interested in film, but maybe a musical. Like I said, like with La La Land coming up, that's with La La Land just winning multiple Oscars and whatnot. I think it'll open up a different type of viewer. Like I personally wasn't in that into musicals, and then all these musicals started coming up, and I rewatched Mamma Mia and all that. And I was like, wow, you can actually do like make an interesting story-driven musical that people will watch.
Mm-hmm. So, this feature that you mentioned, you
Mm-hmm.
probably can't talk a whole lot about it, I'm guessing. Okay. Is it is it based on the one that we talked about before when okay, it's not the same one that we talked about when you did
No,
Acid Pink.
no, it's kind of crazy. It froze, so I'm picking you up on my phone.
It's that California internet. I don't know what it is with
Terrible, really expensive that it is, but it's terrible.
it shut off right after I'd asked the question.
Okay, so no, it's not. I still want to do something with clowns, like I had mentioned before. I just want to have most of the budget for that because I really want to do it right,
Hmm.
and I want to do. I don't want to shoot it in Los Angeles either. So for that one, I'm definitely holding a little bit more. So no, it has nothing to do with clowns. Funny enough.
Well, how did this new production that you're going to get involved with come about? Can you tell us anything about that?
Um, Again, it's kind of crazy, but it all started with me wanting like opening myself up to new opportunities in the sense of like me trying to shoot music videos and all that stuff. And
Hmm.
I met a lot of really inspiring young people like around my age that were not doing exactly what I was doing, but definitely had a lot of talent to put in, were excited to work with me in any way possible. So I'm very blessed in that sense. Plus, I'm learning a lot. Like, I never thought in my life that I would be directing or getting myself out of the camera. Because I told myself I was going to get like a hiatus and I was not going to act and just like completely focus on directing right now.
How much have you learned since Acid Pink?
Too much. My brain is like, you know, uh, it's a lot. I mean, it's weird, but I'm very specific about what I put out, and I'm very specific about um, how things look and stories and everything. So, colors, little details. So for me to be able to trust somebody else that knows lighting, that knows cameras, that knows all of this, I need to learn some. I need to know some sort of base in it because I'm gonna have to know that what you're saying is true, you know, for it to know that it's gonna have really good, it's gonna look great and it's gonna make sense. So I've learned a lot. I feel like the one thing that I learned the most is that I really enjoy the feeling of directing and the feeling of finishing a project. So that's definitely what I wanted to give my 100% in.
When you have to let go of some of that control for someone that knows more about lighting or knows more about any of the other fields outside of directing, do you want to start dabbling in those more so you can take that creative control, or do you want to have a team that can do everything and you strictly just direct?
Oh, I definitely just want to have a team that does everything because directing is already such a headache. But I still want to learn as much as possible so I know, like, I don't want someone to tell me something and me to just go like this and
Hmm.
not know anything. saying. So I definitely taking a study time in all of those fields, but it's not something that I want to do. I produced and directed the music video, and I thought it was a lot of work. And it would be awesome if I could have just a producer come in and do most of the work, you know?
How have you been able to find your crews? Is it just, are you just advertising and picking them up, or is it people that you know?
I am blessed with the fact that I've been in LA for 4 years acting, so I've worked with a lot of people, a lot of very talented people that I trust, so I've been able to pull here and there. Also, I've done a lot of favors for a lot of people, so I can cash in for a lot of favors, so that's always awesome. Um, no, but I really just, I found out, I found so many great people, and I just know, for example, for acting, I did like a little short, like a mini series that is not ready yet, but I was able to put in Tomas Del Burasco, who just got his first, who's a lead in a Netflix show that's coming up, and that was pretty crazy. But he just did it for fun, and I got Sheila Tejada, which is a great actress that's really into like the Filipino movies that are coming out and like the all of the community here. So all of them have been amazing. They have amazing people doing music, and it's just I've just been blessed knowing enough people living here and working enough jobs where I can be like, I want you, you, you.
What would you like to do that's kind of out of the norm for what we're seeing come out of Hollywood right now?
Oh my God, so many things. First off, I would love to hire actors that are so talented but nobody's heard of, because I just feel like I was reading an article about how they were saying that studios are coming up with, revamping old films because actors are so expensive that it's just easier for them to take an old contract and redo it. And in my mind, I'm like, but there's so many great actors out there that have never been put on a movie, and I think that that's very important for me. Also, it's very important for me to use multiple races that has, in movies that have nothing to do about race.
Mm-hmm.
I am very excited to put, a Middle Eastern actor as a father, period. Like, not as a terrorist or a tech guy or, this is the regular normal things that you see in Hollywood that it shouldn't be normal, but that's how they make it seem normal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very important for me. Like, that's super important. And also, I don't know, I guess going back to the importance of like every frame a canvas and a picture of art. Again, I think it's going back to painting that for me is very, very important. Like all of these color schemes and the beauty of a set, and I think a little bit more European for sure.
Do you feel that Hollywood does their diversity in the wrong way? Like they have diversity for diversity's sake instead of thinking about why we should use a character of this ethnicity and base a story around that instead of just saying, well, now we're going to make that character black because reasons.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Okay.
It's pretty. I mean, I'm Puerto Rican, and I mean, just it's one of those things. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know how it works, but I don't want my films to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surrounded by a specific race. I'm surrounded by a lot of different races, so I feel like it would be a lie for me to make a movie that is not filled with races, because that's what's normal to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the world that I live in. So it would be weird if I whitewash a movie because my life is not that filled with white people. You know what I mean? So it's funny like that, but I think it's very important for people to notice that. Like I live in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is a pool of races, and we have New York that's also a pool of races, and pretty much everywhere in the States is a pool of races. So it would be fake not to do it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Opposed to just putting, an Asian guy because we have to, fill our Asian quota, It's dumb.
Mm-hmm. It seems like forced diversity is the crutch that people use when they're creatively bankrupt. That is their crutch. They're just like, well, we need to fill that quota, like you've said, just because we have no other way of telling a story but or to get attention than to just say, oh, guess what? The superhero was white in all the comic books. Now he's Mexican. Look what we did. It doesn't enhance any sort of, it doesn't enhance race relations. It seems like they're just placating because that's the easiest way for them to do it without actually having to involve themselves emotionally or not financially, but creatively, not doing anything that actually makes a difference. It's just like it's just throwing someone a bone, more or less. It feels that way when I see it.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like everyone has their own mind space, you know. I personally I wouldn't be able to do it that way just because, like I said, my real life isn't a specific race.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I write characters, I don't think about him as what do I have to fill in, more
Mm-hmm.
of like who do I find interesting faces, like that to me is very important. Like there's this actor that plays the bad guy in the series Tyrant. I forgot his name right now. It's a very complicated name, but he plays the bad guy in that. He has one of the most expressive, interesting faces I've ever seen in my life. And to me, it's kind of shocking that he is not an actor that we see in everyday movies, you know, because he could play anything. He's great. So for me, that's very important for me to fill my movies with people that are very interesting and that are amazing actors. But I don't think that whitewashing is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's not real. You know, we live in a pool of multiple races. It wouldn't make sense for me to make a movie that just has white people in it.
How can we go about as filmmakers and content creators going about breaking that hold that classic Hollywood has on how they cast people? Because I know a lot of actors that don't fit the mold of what we're used to seeing. They're not the Angelina Jolies. They're not the Brad Pitts. They're people that look like me, but have talent, unlike me. But it just seems that there's no opportunities, even though they'll move out to LA and they'll deplete their savings and they just can't get a break no matter how talented they are. It seems like something has to give in Hollywood, and I don't know how we break down that wall.
I don't know. It's one of those things, but I think it's up to people like me and people like every other content creator and director that I know that has the power to say no. Say I want it to look a certain way, I want it to be a certain way, and to think a little bit different in the content that they're putting out and the actors that they're hiring too. So that's number one. I think that it really is up to the people that continue working in this industry. I think that a lot of the people that are working right now have been working in this industry for years and have a way of doing things that maybe it's time to evolve like everything else, you know? But there's so many different, you know, there's so many ways of looking at it and so many thoughts on it that I think that at the end of the day you just have to say whatever, do whatever you want.
Well, I think Netflix is doing that because Netflix is not held by any, unless they sell themselves to Disney, which is the only thing I'm really worried about. They don't have to answer to anybody but their subscribers. So I think since the way they're growing is eventually going to have to force Hollywood to take notice, that they're willing to cast and make things that are off the wall or don't follow the stereotype of a Hollywood sitcom or series or movie. And they're not worried about losing money because they have subscribers. Now, if Hollywood were to go that route, I think we would finally start to see the good kind of diversity as far as the types of stories and the actors we see. We would finally start to move that way. But that seems like it's probably another good 10 years off, if that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that this industry is in an evolution. It's just starting to go into an evolution with Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu, and Crackle, and I think Samsung is coming out with something. I'm sure the Xbox is coming out with something. So, yeah, I think that we're definitely evolving into something completely new. music had that evolution already, with iTunes and SoundCloud and all of that. So I'm sure that we're gonna have something changing very soon. Hopefully for the better. Hopefully for the better of everybody. For diversity, for talent, for new people that are talented to start working. I'm all for people working. So as long as everybody's working and happy, perfect.
There is a subject I wanted to bring up. I was at an acting class. I was invited to drop by, and I wanted to talk to some of the actors about sexism in Hollywood. And the teacher of the class kind of just blew that all down. It doesn't exist. Now, this is an acting teacher in Florida where we have absolutely no entertainment industry anymore. So, you being a director, a creative director, and an actress, you would know a little bit better than this person would, or I would, if it actually does exist.
Mm, I think that, like a lot of industries, there is sexism in finance, there is sexism in the government, there is sexism in almost every big corporation, and it's very sad. It's extremely sad, but it is very, very true, and it exists a lot. There's a very small percentage of actresses that are at work. There's a very small percentage of female characters that are leads, female characters with actual consistency that are not just sexy characters that are just meant to be sexy and stand there and look pretty. There is very small percentage of female directors, very small percentage of female writers. Like if you put it in a scale, 1 to 10, it's pretty evident that sexism in Hollywood exists. Um, I think that it's changing and it's becoming better with time, yes, but we cannot, talk like it doesn't exist because it does. It's one of those things. It's very true. If you look down a casting call and you see, there's going to be a lot more characters for men than there are for women, and that's just how it is. There's no way to hide it. I think it's pretty there and pretty evident. There's a lot of male leads and very, very few female leads.
What's your favorite female-led film from the past few years? Something that you can call out and saying this is what we should strive for when we're trying to show strong female characters. If you say VHS, I'm gonna be very upset.
Um, I really like everything that Jessica Chastain does. I think she's amazing, and I think that she has picked incredible roles that are very strong and there's a lot of depth in it. And she's great. She's an amazing actress. So I pretty much there's been a couple. I just can't name them off the top of my head, but there's been a couple of films that she's done that I've just been blown away. Interstellar was one of them. I recently rewatched Interstellar, and even though she's not the lead, she's one of the leads, and I think that she did a spectacular job. She's definitely, like, it was an extremely powerful role. She's not meant to be sexy. She's not meant to be anything. She's just a character that has, this extremely strong, powerful character, and that I love a lot.
And
So
she didn't have to stand
her,
under McConaughey's shadow. She was his equal, which was impressive.
exactly, exactly. Like, and you don't see that a lot. So I think that's very amazing. Um, so definitely her, and I've loved her work for a long time. And um, what's her name? She was one. I'm really bad with names. Like I'm pretty sure I have I have a mental deficit where I forget things at a very young age, and it's not normal. But she just won the Oscar. What's her name? For
Oh,
Fences.
I just saw her picture too. Now I'm gonna have to look it
Her.
up. Let me see. She was on a Facebook post, right? I think you shared it too.
she just won it for fences with Denzel Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Everything she does is magnificent. She's an extremely powerful character, extremely powerful actress, and she picks very powerful characters. And I think that her work is brilliant.
Viola
And also
Davis.
Viola Davis,
There we go.
exactly. Viola, she's she's brilliant. So I mean, I would love to see more characters like that that are, you know, played by amazing actresses like that, because I think that there's so many male characters and male actors that have the opportunity to do that. It would be nice to see an equal, for women,
Yeah, I don't think
for
we would
sure.
ever have a deficit of male characters. And I can understand if the film calls for having a male character, if it's written that way, if that's the story you're telling. But if you're telling a general story, I don't think it really matters what gender your lead is. It could be anything. But I guess they default to male because they think that the majority of their audience, both men and women, will like looking at a man more. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
My favorite movie of all times, even more than Star Wars, is Aliens, simply because I love
And
Sigourney Weaver.
yeah, yeah, that's an extremely powerful role that I love too. Um, no, one of the last movies that I did, that I think that was one of the, funny enough, it was one of the reasons why I decided that I wanted to take a hiatus from acting. But I was finishing up a movie, and it took a while to film, and every time that I would go into set, I was like, ugh. But I realized it was because I hated the character I was playing. Every time that I remember I tried to give it like some flavor and depth to it. They would tell me, no, 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 no. You have to understand that you're a sexy character. You have to have no expressions, and you're there to be sexy. So it really, like the things like that, I think are very sad. And after that, I just said I really just don't want anything to do with it, because I honestly, like, one of my goals in life is to inspire a lot of people, a lot of young girls, and a lot of women to do what they want to do. And it's just, I don't think that I'm gonna inspire a lot of people, but just by just standing there looking sexy. It doesn't do a lot for the story, and I don't think it inspires any woman to do it.
I think that's what they told Jessica Alba on the set of Fantastic One or Two is don't emote and don't get emotional. Don't cry because you're gonna look ugly when you cry. Then she's gonna have no
Yeah.
emotional range. How much of a story can you tell if a person cannot have any emotion besides just smoldering at the camera?
I mean, you can always hire a man again,
I guess.
you know. Sure.
I don't get it. Even though I've kind of like I've been burnt out a little bit on the whole sexism thing because the election just kind of drove me to that point where I'm just like I can't I'm over it. I can't do this anymore. I can't go for all the social justice things. But now that we're into 2017, I can finally roll back into it. And I'm surprised at how many people are unwilling to notice these problems. But then the people that do notice the problem, sometimes they go so fringe with it and start trying to shame me for being a man. I'm like, I'm on your side. I'm all for it. But don't try to make me feel bad just because I was born the way I am. I mean,
No, for
we need to hit
sure.
a middle
I think
ground
there's
here.
always a line, like everything. There's always a line. There's always a way for you to give what you think and not offend anybody. And it's a very hard line because everybody has their own perspective on thoughts, and this are problems that we have that are just affecting everybody. They're just affecting everybody differently depending on the field that they are. Me personally, I'm a woman. I'm a woman in film, and being a woman in film as an actress, Latino, it was like it's Latino female actress. It was a lot. I think that a lot of the roles that I read a lot of Mexican roles. I think I've never read a Puerto Rican role in my life. Um, all the Puerto Rican roles that I've read were not meant for me. They have to look more African American. I look white. So things like that. I mean, it's weird. It's just how the industry is. There's no it's really odd. We work in a very odd industry, and now being a female director, Hispanic female director, I don't know how that's gonna go because I'm pretty new in it. I'm pretty green in it. But I'm also very excited for whatever happens at the same time. Um, Especially because I am being the boss, and I it's my job, it's my work. If you don't like it, too bad. Somebody else will. Um, but it's more of giving a complete work of art um, to the viewers, and it's not gonna be liked by everybody, but I'm sure that somebody will like it. You know.
When you talk about not seeing many Puerto Rican roles, that's even living here in Florida, I can't remember seeing that many for shows or TV shows or movies that were based here. It was either you had white, black, Cuban. That was
Yeah.
seen to be the three. That was it. There were never Haitians. There was never anyone from Puerto Rico. There was never anyone from the Dominican Republic or from the Bahamas. It was just you had these three, and that was it. I guess Cubans covered everything for some reason. Even though we have a huge Mexican population in the middle of Florida, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I've seen way more Puerto Ricans than I have any other nationality in Florida.
I mean, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know why. We're pretty awesome. I promise you. We have a lot of stories to tell.
I
um,
I don't get it. I guess you're just hard to write for. I don't know.
I would love to take a couple of years to definitely go travel and write, about um, different people in different parts of the world because we never know. I mean, I'm sure there's something pretty awesome happening in the other side of the planet, that we are absolutely not aware of. Just because, cultures are so different and have such different lifestyle, everyday lifestyle that we wouldn't even compute. But stories like that are very awesome, and that's what makes filmmaking so great and storytelling so great. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I spent a year going all over, and what I realized at the end of it, I was very glad to be an American because there were a lot of things that I saw that just would just not be tolerated here. Just civil rights violations, basically. But there were so many people and so many cultures that there was just I would never get that here.
Yeah.
I would be completely devoid of those experiences if I didn't go out and see them myself. So I would definitely suggest doing it. But when I went, it was easier to travel. It was before 9/11. Now it's just a pain in the
Yeah.
butt. But yeah, just the way people would treat you when they found out you were an American that many years ago is different than it is now. But people would just tell you things just because they knew you were American and they knew you didn't know this.
Uh,
And sleeping in a pod hotel in Japan, a big guy like me in this little pod in a wall with my feet sticking out. Just things like that I'll never forget, and I'm so glad that I did that at the tremendous cost. But I would as a director and as someone that is creatively minded as you are, I would definitely suggest doing it.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be traveling next month.
Hmm.
So I'm taking because I've been in LA for far too long without getting out of LA. So I'm leaving for a minute. Um, so it's important, I realize that, you know, going from Hollywood and Vine to Cahuenga or like Sunset and Fairfax isn't really that much travel. So I really need to get out.
I think LA is kind of like its own little bubble of
Yeah.
weirdness. I don't think anyone can understand what that's like. Maybe people that live in New York might, but I don't think anyone else can really get that. It is so different.
Yeah, I live in the Mecca. I'm on literally in Hollywood, so I go outside to walk the dog and I see everything, something interesting every night, for sure.
But is it always a good experience? So I guess that's the important question.
It's a learning experience. It's something I put on paper. It's like 30 cops every night, so doing something different.
Would you consider living anywhere else?
Yes, 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 yes. I would love to move to New Orleans in the near future. It's just so rich in culture and food and architecture and just it's just a very old, beautiful town, and there's a little bit of everything. And I have family there too, so it's that's to be a place that I would love to move to. Um, I just don't see myself living in Hollywood for a long, long time.
Hmm.
Just because, again, it's just very intense. But for what I'm doing, it's great. The amazing thing of it all is that I really do believe that there's extremely talented people everywhere in the world. You know, there's gonna be sound guys and light guys everywhere in the world. Um, and I'm confident that if I would need to pull someone from New Orleans, if I cannot ship somebody, send somebody from LA there, I'm sure that I could find somebody anywhere. Um, but with airplanes, and airports, there's really not a big need of living in a specific place.
Well, New Orleans has its own movie industry. It's where like the more unique looking people end up. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you would be devoid of even like guys and sound guys. If you get the right production company, they ship them from all over. I know quite a few that just get hauled out of here and sent all the way around the world for like National Geographic. So
That's what I'm saying. When there's a will, there's a way, and I really do believe that the right person for you, it's there. I am a very big team person. I do believe that I'm not able to do anything by myself like this. If it wasn't for my team, I would just roll over and die. But I'm very strict with like the people that I choose for my team too. Not in a mean way, just in a very peaky way. Because this is the people that I'm going to work for more than a day for maybe 12 hours plus. They have to be great, great working and amazing people to work with. But I do feel like the right person is out there for you. The right people are out there for you. So it all happens for a reason. I'll find the right people somewhere.
what's your interview process like when you're trying to find the people to use on your projects?
Right now, I just get a lot of recommendations just because, again, I've been working for so many people for a while. I'm able to ask people and see. I also look at a lot of content, and if I see something that stands out, and I recognize, oh, I like this certain thing about this certain project, I call and I ask to see, or Google or IMDb to see who did it specifically. Um, for example, I would love to write more, but I would also love to work with other writers, and I feel like that's been like my hardest task is to find writers that I can work with and do their develop their writing into a movie. But again, I just think that the right person, I haven't met him yet. But when it happens, it will be a perfect marriage.
Hmm. I guess finding writers does sound like it would be the hardest thing, because even if someone were to write a screenplay, how much of that has changed from the first draft into what it finally became on screen? You don't really know that person's true talents unless you read that original draft, I guess.
No, and I think that again, it's like I feel like writer directors it's almost like a marriage if you want to work it right, because there's a lot of editing process and a lot of heart to heart that have to happen and leniency that has to happen for it to work right. A lot of collaboration, and I feel like it's an egoless relationship for it to work. I'm a huge fan of Aaron Sorkin, Newsroom and West Wing and all that. If I were I feel like he would be like the writer that I would die to work with. If I could find a new version of Aaron Sorkin, a young version of Aaron Sorkin that'd be willing for me to make their work, it would be amazing. That would be like the mega second best thing after him.
Good luck with that. I mean, that's all I can really say. It's not like you're gonna be short on writers anywhere. I guess, yeah, finding the good ones that you can work with, where you can strike that deal where you drop your ego at the door and realize you're not trying to override each other. You're just trying to make something good. I guess that's the hard thing because I've heard a lot of writers get thrown out of productions just because they get so tied up that what they put on paper is the gospel, and it's not always going to be that way.
I mean, I think it's also like I feel like it's a trust thing. Things that I'm gonna say are not always gonna be right. I'm very for accepting, and I'm okay with people telling me their ideas and me thinking about them and all that because I think it's a collaboration at the end of the day. It's a football team. So for me, that's very important. I think it goes the same way with writers, but it's a half and half there because it's both of our work put together. Um, so I think it's again, it's all about a collaboration and just seeing that it's half and half and it will be able to work out. Um, but there's a lot of everything out there.
Mm-hmm. um, when can we expect to see that music video hit? Is there a date
Not
yet?
far from today. Probably latest a month and a half. Right now we're just color correcting it, so it'll
It,
be out pretty soon.
is it going to be on Vimeo or YouTube or MTV or where can people
Well,
see it when it does come out?
the crazy thing is that now because I mean I've never done something like this, but it's more I'm giving my baby to Capital, and Capital will do what Capital does. So it's up to them. But it's gonna be pretty big. His name is Mike Beats, and the album is called Third World Dawn, and my song is Ride or Die. So I think it's a lot of people are gonna watch it. We're doing a lot of crazy marketing for it, so it's gonna be pretty out there in your face. It's definitely gonna be something no one has ever seen before, which is pretty awesome. Um, a lot of twist at the end, per usual, and yeah, colorful per usual. So a lot of me. I think it's gonna be one of those things that you're gonna be like, Val direct that.
Was some of your team that was on Acid Pink, are they returning to do this to do that music video with you?
Uh, David Adams returned, which did the music for Acid Pink, but he's executive producing the music video. Apart from that, everybody else is new. But funny enough, is Acid Pink was like 5 people crew, me being one of them, counting as like 4. So it was pretty awesome not having all that responsibility and not acting and like directing at the same time, just directing. I went to work in sweats and it was great.
Do you make an appearance at all in the music video?
No, it was great. I do not at all. It's amazing.
I think you were asking for a few locations. I remember when you first started filming this, and one of them was a strip club. Is it all in the strip club, or is it a few different
No.
locations?
So I imagine at first a strip club, like a very small scene at a strip club, very elegantly done. But the strip club did not go through. It was extremely expensive. They were asking me around like 20K for a night,
Whew.
8 hours. Yeah. So we ended up using. We just got extremely lucky. We ended up using a hookah lounge that was this pretty much a big black box, huge, and it was furnished. And we literally created 5 different setups inside of the hookah lounge with the furniture that we had from inside the hookah lounge. And I just think that day I was like, the luck of the Irish or something because I remember the night before I really wanted a palm tree. And, this palm tree for me was like extremely important. I had to have this palm tree. I went to Home Depot the night before, and the palm trees they had were gonna go over budget for the ones that I liked. Specifically, it was like a $200 palm tree. And they were looking at me like, "Do you really want a $200 palm tree for the small scene in your video?" I'm like, "Oh, it's fine." And I was kind of very upset about it. It's my palm tree. It was definitely in the storyboard. The palm tree was there in the storyboard. So it was a very important loss for me. I get to the place, and while we're just setting everything up, I open the door, and there is a huge palm tree that we use in every single shot. and it came out of nowhere. And we went to our second location, which I've scouted before, twice. I got there that night, and there were 5 palm trees, new palm trees. They had bought that day. So I was like, wow. So things like that, it's all about the little things, you know? Things like that definitely make my day. Apart from the fact that we finished in 12 hours. That was pretty awesome.
Was it just one of those shoots where everything pretty much aligned up just right, or there were no issues whatsoever?
It's crazy. I mean, it's funny, I did like another shoot after that, which is like a short that I did. And that short I had to reshoot it once. And in my mind, I was like, I thought that it was gonna be so much simpler than this, you know. I just finished a shoot that was extremely complicated in 12 hours, and I do this shoot that was extremely simple, way simpler, and I have to reshoot it. So you never know. It's kind of crazy, It's definitely a learning experience, but I love it. It's so random in every way possible.
Do you find on-location shooting easier than shooting on a soundstage?
Yeah, I think that there's something about like the authenticity of a place.
Mm-hmm.
Sound-wise, it's annoying, but it's something you have to work with.
It's just a little extra time in just sound mixing, or is it just extra time in trying to block out all the extra sound while you're on set?
Oh.
I guess there's no way to get out of it. I mean, you can't really soundproof a building, really.
No, in the last shoot that I had was in my building, and again, I live in Hollywood, and I live in Hollywood, right there in the mecca of Hollywood. So every 5 minutes it was a honk, somebody screaming. We had a guy with like a banjo in the bottom, like playing banjo, and I remember like, hey, we're shooting. Like I threw like a $20 bill. Please, just stop.
How do you budget for bribery in a while shoot?
Funny. One of the first acting classes that I had years ago in San Diego. I used to live in San Diego before I lived in LA. It was a director that was teaching the class, and one of the things he told me is like, you always have to have at least $1,000 on your budget for bribery. And I never thought about it until that day. He said, yeah, what if they're like playing music next door? You need to bribe them with something. And like also I worked as a PA on a show called The Bay, and they've won a couple of Emmys, and they got nominated for a Daytime Emmy this year. It's a very low budget show, but it's on Amazon Prime, and they're doing pretty well. But I remember that I was PAing for them, and next door they were doing construction on a house. So they sent me, because the guys only spoke Spanish, so I remember they sent me, and I like walked up all like, hi guys, here's some beer. Please stop working for like 10 more minutes, and then 10 minutes after, 10 more minutes. I'll bring you snacks. So it's kind of funny like that.
Speaking of acting classes, how do you judge a good acting class?
I think it depends on you.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone to way too many acting classes, and it depends on you. There's so many different techniques. I think it's depending on the person and what technique works better for them. I worked on a technique. I studied under a technique a lot called like the in the moment technique, and that was great. But towards the end, I really wanted to something a little bit harder, something that you a little bit more down on like the character and their emotions and blah blah blah. So then I went to another technique. So it just depends on what pretty much your appetite is and what you want to digest at the moment, and what works better for you. At the end of the day, some people say that it's just saying lines. So it's crazy. Like it just works so different for so many people. There's people that say I don't do anything. The less I think, the better.
I guess that could be true, but I mean, how do you know? You just play yourself then if you're not really thinking about the role? I don't think I can do that. Even when I deliver lines that I've written, I have to think about what I'm trying to say, and not just saying, "Hey, this is Mike with Syxx."
It's so different for everybody. It's kind of crazy. But I mean, again, it's so crazy for me now because I've taken a pause from acting. I don't know if I'll do it again, but this makes me really happy. I think it makes me happier to be able to create my own jobs and give other people jobs. Like, it's such an amazing experience to be able to say, okay, like, I'm giving these people jobs too. Like, these people are working and doing what they love and having fun with it too, and that to me is awesome. You know, I think it beats working at a restaurant 120%, you know? So that to me just, it's really heartfelt, and I love it. And I just think that that's what I want to do. You know, what makes me happy.
And unlike a business like a brick and mortar business where you just have employees and they work for you, the people you work with go out and they do so many other things after they've worked with you maybe just one time, that what they take from you furthers their career far more than just working for a guy and pushing buttons at a cash register. You offer so much more than that.
Yeah, and when I like somebody, I like using them a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also another thing. Like, I like people to come back and be wanting to come back and be able to collaborate. I love collaborating with people because I feel like, to me, that's more than a job. It's more like everybody puts their own little seed. Like football. Everybody, you know, has their own little play, and everybody has their position. And I think that's very important, and I see that extremely important because, again, I'm directing, but I'm directing a team of extremely talented people to do one goal. So I exclude myself a little bit, and I think that's awesome too. Like, it's not really about me, it's about me and all the people that I'm having with me doing this. And especially when everybody's is you know, inspired by the end project, is very important, because I've worked in a lot of productions where nobody wants to be there, and you can definitely see that at the end. You know, if they're not excited about what they're creating, it's not gonna go nowhere.
They're just there for a paycheck and that's it. That kind of attitude.
Mhm.
How do you kind of like stop that, or do the people at the top just not care? They're just putting out a product and it doesn't matter.
No, I think it has to do a lot with, like, your interview, like, you looking for people and you pitching ideas. Hopefully your idea is good enough where they would like it, and they're actually very interested in working, you know, in it. It's something that when opposed to something that's driven by money, because money comes and goes at the end of the day. You know, I think that we are all working towards something bigger than just cash.
Yeah, I agree, because like I don't pay you for an interview, and the people that I do luckily do interviews for me in Dread Central. I mean, we're not doing it for money. We're doing it for the bigger picture. So I'm very grateful that you people agree to work with me, even though I'm nobody at the end of the day. I'm a guy with a tiny channel that just happens to get dragged out to all these different filming locations, and I have an interesting face that people like to use for whatever reason. So, I mean, we're all working towards the betterment of the entertainment industry, I guess, really, and that's all I really have to say about that. So, Val, thank you very much for sitting down with me again. I appreciate it, and I hope when you come back from your little sabbatical and traveling that we get to see even more from you before this big mystery production that you've got going on. So
thank you so much.
So where can people find you? How can people look at your stuff and know what's going on?
Well, right now on my Instagram, I am Val Vega. I'm posting quite a lot about what's going on. Yeah, and that's pretty much it.
All right. Thank you very much, Val. Best of luck to you, and I hope to get to interview you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Right,
Bye.
Bye.